I teach mathematics education at Sriwijaya University. This moment, I want to give you the presentation about observing RME classroom practices. This topic is one of my topics that I teach in postgraduate class. I know this topic is very important for all of my students to make them professional in the classroom. In this topic, students need to collaboration each other and collaboration with teacher in the school. So, of course, it needs good communication, good performance to make their partner believe and can work together. Now, I want to give you information about a little about PMRI, Pendidikan Matematika Realistik Indonesia. PMRI, an approach that is adapted from RME, is determined by fundamental opinion about mathematics to important opinions from him that mathematics must be connected to reality and mathematics as human activity. PMRI has been disseminated in southern Sumatra since 2004 through seminars, workshops, research, and pilot school. And now, I want to give you the model of designing mathematical learning model based on the RME approach according to Zucardi 2002. You see that the one open material, so we need to make a real context. And then in open material, we need to model, diagram, and etc. So open materials means to make our students interactive in the classroom. They need to contribute in your classroom. So, and then you can make open material intertwined to understand. Understand is very, very important. And then in open materials mean to make our student make free production. Designing teaching and learning process based on PMRI, there are goals. Of course, as a teacher, we make goals and then make materials, student activity, and evaluation during a process and at the end in your teach. Now I want to give realistic mathematics education in short, according to Ruwig. The first one is a context or problem situation. And then model of or informal or intuitive. And next, model for a pre-formal. So at the end, you can use a formal mathematics. You see this is horizontal mathematization, and then that from context model of, and then model for, and then formal. This is a vertical mathematization. In this activity, we need to guide the student. We call it guided reinvention. There are many characteristics of RMA, starting in context, building on pre-formal knowledge, different strategies and answer, guided reinvention, from model of to model for, horizontal and vertical mathematization, intertwining learning strength, practical value, meaningful and sense making. Now, I want to give you learning trajectory of one topic about greatest common divisor and others. First, Beckel game for topic greatest common divisor. Second, webbing for topic measuring and estimating of area. And the third, public transportation using transmusi in South Sumatra, Indonesia for topic multiplication. And fourth, guessing game for topic measuring time. I want to explain first about Beckel game. You can see this, the student activity, and they can use the student activity worksheet. This is learning trajectory about greatest common divisor. First, the context is the student play Beckel ball games. And the first model of is grouping the Beckel bits based on the remainder. And then signing the factor of numbers as numbers in which can be divided by the number itself and other numbers where the remainder is 0. The model 4 of this learning trajectory is finding the concept of common divisor from two numbers. And at the end, the formal is greatest common divisor. About the area, we can use the culture of Indonesia. We call it anyaman. In English, we call it webbing. The first step is the context is webbing. The student can make the webbing. The activity, you can see learning this learning trajectory. First one, comparing and ordering. The student can comparing the two of webbing with a different size of unit, but the same size on whole unit. Comparison of square and of rectangle. We can see this one. And then using model of imagery of constructing a measurement unit as the basis of formula of square and of rectangle. And then you can use the non-standard measuring. It's not using the unit. So at the end, we can measuring and estimating of area. For example, we can use the map, we can use the non-standard measuring. You can see this one, and you can use the drawing of your hand, of your foot. It's many things. The goal is of approximation and counting the number of the measurement unit in the grid paper or transpiration as a ready tool. And then about multiplication, we can use the context about transportation, local or public transportation. In South Sumatra, there is a transmusi. The first one, we can use this context, transmusi, and then we can use the drama about the transportation. You can see this one, we can use the driver as passenger. It's very important and very interesting for students. The model of is they can draw the model or about the bus and then using the number. We can see learning trajectory. The first, public transportation, the bus with the same number of passengers riding on some stop, and then using beat shift by the same amount, the car number 2. And number jump ahead on the number line to jump by the same amount on each step. At the end is multiplication using repeated addition. 4 times 5 equal 20 is 5 plus 5 plus 5 4 times equal 20. And the last example is about gasing. Gasing is the game culture from Indonesia. Java, so I think West Java. We can see this activity about measuring time. We can see the learning trajectory about this. The student using the activity, play about the gasing game, and then they can use in the learning activity worksheet, and then they can use the standard measuring using the clock, and they can measuring time at the end. Okay, all topic we need to prepare all of things that we use in the classroom as a learning material, tool of data collection and evaluation. So, as a teacher, we can use design research. According Dolly van Erde 2013, as a warming up, we can use this way. Close your eyes and you can find where is the key plot. Point it that direction. How do you know this? It's very interesting way. Because the research, many type of research aims to describe, to compare, to evaluate, to explain or to predict and to advise. So when design research, you want to study a new course, for example, for learning proportion. If you want to know if it is better than another method or prove it is better than choose a quasi-experimental method with hopefully significant differences. But if you want to develop or design a new course and understanding how instructional activities work and why, so you can use design research. So focus on how it's work instead of what works. Aim of design research, to propose of a design experiment is to contribute to a local instructional theory about the learning process of students and the means that are designed to support that learning. There are three phases in design research. First, preparing for experiment in classroom, and conducting retrospective analysis. I want to give you the example about measuring time using guessing game. Researchers involve traditional guessing game as the context for learning time measurement. Traditional guessing game has the situation that provide the need of student in measuring time. The first phase, preparing for the experiment. Starting point is literature on instructional research to understand the consequence of earlier instruction. And then assessment of student knowledge, thinking process. This is very important and very difficult when you want to assessment of student knowledge and thinking processes. And then a teacher's view, perception, attitude on teaching mathematics. According to Bai and Backhoff, state that the time express cyclical character. It can be shown from a variety of time instruments within a certain time interval. This drives people for interfering time easily. In this research, there are 4 student activities. Crucial function of the HLT in all phases. During the design phase, the HLT guide the design of instructional activities. During the teacher experiment, the HLT function as guideline what to focus on in teaching, interviewing, and observing. During the retrospective analysis, the HLT function as a guideline on what to focus on the analysis. We can see that. Experiment in the classroom. So we need the data collection, of course. The basic form is document, collect and analyze, and then making observation, asking question using interview, questionnaire, test, so triangulation. Observation, what people do and say. So it's very important for you, you can find what student thinking. And then interview, what people think, opinion and attitudes. And test or written task, what people know or can. Knowledge, mental strategies. And then written work, student and teacher. Student notation, calculation, explanation, teacher diaries during the experiment. So teachers must be active in that class. In the teaching experiment, the use of traditional guessing game, guessing game brought students to the context of understanding the concept of measuring time. These activities used traditional guessing game was measuring time informally as the experience for students to measuring time formally. Student was capable to develop their strategies to solve the problem of playing guessing and time measuring. The first activity, comparing to spinning guessing directly to determine the winner of playing guessing together. We can see this student activity, they play together and determine the winner. The second activity is counting orally to yield non-standard unit of time measurement. Guessing match play by turn had prompt students to find the idea of unit of time. The absence of other guessing spin at the same time because there was one guessing played only. Force students to look for another comparison that could be used to determine its winner. We can see this. There is a student play and there are many students to count. And the third activity is counting orally in conjunction with the movement of clock hand. Learning activities of students who had previously performed again as an impact when student measured the time of guessing spin using the clock. We can see this activity and using the clock. And fourth activity, counting the strip and the space of the strip of second interval on the clock. The result of the duration of an event is determined by the starting and end point. In the next activity, students determine the duration of an event provided by describing it to know strategy of formal knowledge emerged by student. And the third basis is conducting retrospective analysis. The goal is contribute a local instructional theory. Interactive process of data analysis from HLT to retrospective analysis is compare conjectures with the actual data. We can see this. This is the iceberg of this learning trajectory. Now, I want to give you the homework. I have one problem about hijab clothes. There are two stores, Putri store and Ratu store. You can see this. In the Putri store, there is discount about 50% plus 20%, and Ratu store 70%. Ratu store over 70% off for all hijab clothes, and Putri store offer 50% plus 20% off for all hijab clothes. Question is, in which one of the stores are you going to buy the hijab clothes to get the cheaper price? So, and then after you finish the solve that problem, you need to make your own problem. Choose a problem and make individually, find an answer, and then reconstruct your thinking process. Write this down in a few words. And duos, you can compare your answer, prepare an explanation. Thought processes. How do you do your problem? How will children do them? How to teach your problem? Procedures, understanding role of models, and then how to improve teaching. Thank you. It's all of our presentation now to you. I hope you can follow this presentation. Thank you very much.